And welcome back, everybody, to the Law and Crime Network. I'm your host this afternoon, Rachel Stockman, and you were just listening to some testimony from Captain John Zimmerman, trying to figure out exactly where the defense was going with this, but he was talking about many of the items that were seized and the searches that they did in the Kendhammer household after this incident happened. I'm here alongside Cathy Russon, who's our senior trial producer here at Law and Crime. Cathy, any idea where the defense was going with this witness? I haven't seen the point yet with this.
No, and I haven't seen the point yet either. They're not done with him, so I was thinking that at the end they'll say something like, and all these items you gathered, you didn't find A, B, and C, or something like that. But they just had him keep listing everything they seized and what they sent to the FBI lab. The thing that confused me was pointing out like what appears to be blood drippings on the glove box in the car just now. That was the last picture they were showing, but didn't say anything about that. Just said, does this appear to be drippings here? So, it's like everything's just kind of open with this witness.
So we'll wait with bated breath for the lunch break to end in about an hour to see where the heck defense was going with all of this. However, let's just kind of recap the morning. We had several witnesses that were family relations and friends to the Kendhammer family. I mean, I see the point in those witnesses just establishing the fact that these two had a very good relationship. Everything was going swimmingly at home, that there was no major fighting. Did anything stick out to you about the witnesses this morning?
Well, we now know that the Kendhammers had the only perfect marriage that ever in existence, because that is all that has ever been said about their marriage. Now, that's great for the defense. It also doesn't seem very realistic. Doesn't seem realistic to me and to many people that are watching this trial. Someone on Twitter had a great comment that they compared it to like a Facebook family where you only see all the good and great stuff on Facebook. People post, how great and wonderful their lives are, that it's almost like that. So it's very strange. I commented that my children really have never seen my husband and I argue or fight. That doesn't mean that hasn't happened.
Wow, good for you, Cathy. That's really impressive.
Well, anyway, that's just something that's important to me. But that doesn't mean I don't argue with my husband. That just means we don't do it in front of other people. So, that could be the case here. But it's great for the defense that Barb's family is supporting him, and Barb's family is coming on the stand saying he is a great guy, and they had a terrific marriage. Perfect. The word perfect's been used by every single defense witness. They had a perfect marriage. I also don't know how realistic it is.
Well, but again, like you said, it is, I think that will weigh in the jurors' minds, the fact that it's not just his family, not just Todd's family taking the witness stand on behalf of the defense, but also the victim's family as well, Barb's family as well. Okay. So we've had a lot of debate, Cathy, and a lot of the guests and hosts that we've had here on the Law and Crime Network really believe that there's a lot of reasonable doubt in this case, and they question whether the jurors are going to convict him. We saw Kendhammer take the stand all day pretty much yesterday, where we saw some changing stories about what happened that day, some kind of question marks that were raised in my head. What's your take on this? Is this guy guilty? We're almost here at the end of the case.
Okay, look, he convicted himself when he took the stand. His testimony, it was a mess. It was all over the place. It highlighted all of his lies, basically. He says he didn't lie to the police, but it highlighted all of his inconsistent stories. His story doesn't make sense. There are so many things in this case. If I was on the jury, I could vote guilty. And I normally like to look at a trial from the defense side, and I really want the state to prove it to me, and I went into this trial exactly the same way. And now that when we ended the state's case, I could go guilty.
Okay, but Cathy, a lot of these things can kind of be, what's your biggest contention in terms of what he said on the stand that really raised eyebrows for you? The fact that he couldn't really explain the injuries on one of his hands, how he couldn't really piece together the story of what happened very coherently. What stuck out to you?
So he's gone off with his wife in the morning to search for a truck that he doesn't know where the truck is, doesn't know where the guy lives that owns the truck, and has never seen the truck. and he's off to search for this mysterious truck that he's going to change the windshield in. However, that's his third story, by the way. So he first told police it was Justin Heem's truck. Then he said, no, it was a guy that Justin Heem had told him about that needed their windshield. Then on the stand is the first time that we heard that he was mistaken, and he said it on the stand. I was mistaken. It was a different guy completely that I was looking for the truck that morning. Also, they were doing that right before Barb had to be to work in the completely opposite direction. The co-workers have testified she was never, ever, ever late for work.
Okay, so, Cathy, that's all suspicious. Doesn't mean he killed her.
Okay, let's keep going.
Okay.
So, she calls her mother every single morning at 7:45 on her way to work, and and she doesn't do that this morning. Immediately calls her. That's how prompt she is to work, that at 2 minutes after the time she's supposed to be there, they already know something's wrong. So why is she voluntarily going with her husband to go search out a truck somewhere in the middle of that they have no idea what it looks like that morning? Then he says how it happens. His first story is he thought it was a bird. Then he said, oh no, I did see the pipe. Well, did you think to punch the inside of the windshield, which is none of our reaction. Nobody, I don't know anybody that would have done that. He is right-handed. That came out on the stand. Yet he kept his right hand on the steering wheel, came across his body with his left hand to punch the inside of the windshield to stop a bird from coming through. It's the most ridiculous story I have ever heard. That is not instinctual to do that. The instinct is to protect the person in the passenger seat if you have any instinct, or to tense up yourself on the steering wheel, not to punch the windshield.
Okay, so here, okay, this is all very convincing, and I was taking very thorough notes, Cathy, because some of these same questions were raised in my mind. But this kind of, I don't know if this is maybe a question that a juror would ask, and that is, okay, this guy seems kind of like your average middle American guy. He doesn't seem like he's that savvy in the legal system. He doesn't seem like a smooth talker, someone that's kind of pulled off, I should say, schemes or frauds or staging stuff before. So, if that's the case, and why would he take the stand? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I almost think the fact that he took the stand and just really kind of went through his story and was very clear, nope, I didn't touch her, nope, I didn't kill her, might play in the jurors' minds' favor.
Look, we have seen plenty of defendants take the stand that should have never gotten on the stand. So what's in that mindset? I have no idea. Sorry, I have to mute something.
Sorry, Cathy, I couldn't hear you. What'd you just say?
Okay, I had to mute something that had come up.
Oh.
So to explain what's in his mind, why he took the stand, we don't know. His attorneys may not have wanted him to take the stand. We don't really know what that's about. But his story is not holding water of what happened. And a freak accident where a pipe comes through your windshield, and yet he's a windshield guy, and that's been his profession for years and years and years. What a coincidence that that's how his wife dies, is it is through a windshield in this freak accident that nobody ever saw a truck, by the way. They scanned that truck, mysterious truck that the pipe fell off of, never was found. Nobody ever saw it, wasn't seen on any cameras.
Cathy, and I agree with you on many of your points. I think there's a lot of questions about his story. I'm just wondering if all this amounts to a conviction, or if there is still enough doubt here, especially with some of the expert witnesses we saw the defense bring on. But I want to put this discussion on pause for the moment, because one of our other trials that's happening in Tennessee is now back in session. That's the 3 men there that are accused of murdering Zavion Dobson in a tragic drive-by shooting that kind of got some national attention because the victim, Mr. Dobson, 15 years old, shielded some people, 2 girls, and saved their lives. So let's take a listen. It looks like the judge is talking right now.